Hey everyone, I'm Rich. In this video, I'm going to take a deeper dive on the original M1 MacBook Air and give you guys my detailed review on how it's doing 3 years later. I've used this laptop throughout all my years in college. I brought it all over the country just doing work on it, editing videos for different clients and even some on this own channel. And just like a whole lot of labor that was done on this device, and Apple's still listing the M1 Air on their website right now. Their price has remained at the $999 mark, but you can easily find this through the Apple for Education discount for as low as $899. Some other places like Best Buy in the US and all that, I've seen it go down to $799, $750. I think if you want to hear my answer right now, I think it's a great laptop till this day, and I would still totally buy it again after 3 years. As far as the physical build quality goes, I had nothing but good things to say about this laptop. There's a few minor scuff marks on the sides, but I kept it in pretty good shape. Everything from the sharp edges to its lightweight design makes the Air very stylish. Being that this laptop weighs only 2.8 pounds is a huge relief, because back when I was in college, I loved the portability that it offered. It was just so damn light. When I was using this laptop around the house or just putting it in my backpack, taking it out, it was very, very nice. It slipped right in the bag. I can take it right out. Very quick and very easy to use. There's hardly any weight difference at all, especially when I was carrying a bunch of textbooks and stuff like that. The backlit Magic Keyboard also is still a pleasure after 3 years in use. I occasionally wipe it down with a sanitizing wipe every couple months, so the keys stay relatively clean and oil free, but I think the keyboard still feels as great as ever. The travel distance is very tactile and comfortable while typing. The Touch ID/power button still works just as I expected to, remaining as fast and responsive. The Force trackpad has also been performing very nice. I had no issues whatsoever. The 13.3-inch 2560 by 1600 Retina display is by no means impressive as compared to today's tech we've seen, and the bezels could seem rather thick, but I can certainly say that it's still a great looking screen after 3 years. You know, working with media content looks beautiful. The colors are vivid and excitingly clear as part of their True Tone technology. The display looks very precise while having a softer feel at the same time. You can especially tell that if you're typing long essays and doing much of schoolwork like I was before. It's a great screen. The 400 max nits of brightness on here is bright enough, I would say. It does become a little bit of a struggle on a bright and sunny day, but nothing like using it under shade will solve that. I have the Mac in this Herschel supply case, and like every time I want to pull it out and use it, it's so easy to use. It slips right in and out of this pocket. I can just like kind of slide it back in and push it in. That wedge-shaped design on the MacBook really sells it for me. It still does look very premium to this day, and when a lot of my friends and family peers ask me, you know, what machine is this? Oh, is that a MacBook and all that? They start using it. They're still pleasantly surprised, and they thought this came out like last year or something. I don't know. Now onto the battery life. I can't lie to you that I was pretty much using this laptop almost every day back when I was in college, and even to this day too, when I need to check my emails, FaceTime someone, or do a little bit of light video editing work on here. I played a bunch of media, watched a bunch of movies on here, typed up a bunch of scripts and essays. Oh my goodness. I was editing literally like the past 50 or so videos on this channel before I got my gaming PC this year. On top of that, I would have this MacBook stay awake for like plus 24 hours using the amphetamine app, which would keep the MacBook from sleeping. That's especially useful when I'm watching movies or transferring large amounts of files. I think the big takeaway here is that yes, I've been using this laptop a lot, and the battery health displays as 92%, and I think that's pretty darn accurate. It's very staggering, and after 3 years of use, you can absolutely get a full day's work on this. I think a week of 2 to 3 hours of use on this MacBook, I wouldn't have to reach for my charger until maybe like the second day and a half to the third day and a half, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like around 7 till 9 hours of use, and that's still pretty long after 3 years, especially when lithium ion batteries tend to degrade after some time. All right, now here comes the interesting part, the performance and thermals. All right, how we doing? The M1 Silicon chip. So I went ahead and had the single and multi-core performance tested on Geekbench. This definitely goes head to head against other Intel and AMD laptops out there, but we see nothing but great benchmark results, coming in at 2,372 for a single core and 8,426 for multi-cores. I have the 8GB base model version here, and this doesn't disappoint. In everyday scenarios, launching applications such as Google Chrome feels extremely fast. I can have numerous tabs open, including articles and YouTube videos I'm watching while video chatting on FaceTime with my friends, and there's minimal lag. I can efficiently complete my tasks without experiencing hardly any delays. When it comes to working with media, photos, and programs like Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop, it fares very well on this device too. I was able to work through and export a bunch of photos quickly, and rendering videos on DaVinci Resolve 18 held up very well. A simple 20-minute 4K video was rendered in 29 minutes. This was a combination of some Fusion titles and graphics involved, so it was really pushing this laptop a lot. And while sure many have asked about the thermals on the M1 Air, it seemed tolerable. I haven't had any issues with the laptop ever being too hot to the touch. Yes, it did feel slightly hot around the keyboard areas a couple of times, a little bit warm, and especially down towards like the palm rest area. The only problem I had was when I was editing videos on a bright sunny day, like the sun was shooting straight down on my laptop and my MacBook got really hot to the touch, where on the top right icon it said that you need to take a little break. As long as you keep it around room temperature, I can't see how you're gonna push this laptop till it burns. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be like that. The fanless design of this machine manages to be very, very efficient, and it keeps itself cool. I haven't had any real slowdowns with the 8GB base model version here too, until it came to me running a bunch of Fusion title effects on DaVinci Resolve. So like the visual effects and the graphics on there. When I started to play around and experiment with stuff on that, I had to close down like Google Chrome and everything in the background just to manage to get through a timeline. A lot of stuff were like stuttering and just moving back and forth and stuff like that. Really not an enjoyable experience. The beach ball started coming up, it started getting really slow. But for like video editing, like cutting, adding titles and transitions, all that, it fares very well on here, and you're not gonna have a problem with that at all. Also, the 256GB SSD on here is slightly faster than the one we've seen on the M2 Air. I guess they went with a different configuration on the M2, but many have said you will really only notice it if you transfer very, very large video files. That when you swap memory, I've transferred over like 70GB of time from the MacBook to my computer, back to the MacBook, and the M1 Air was able to do that at still very manageable speeds. Also, here's a webcam and audio test of the MacBook Air. I forgot to mention this, and I think it's important for anyone that would like to see what this is like. All the features on this. As you can see, there's only a 720p front-facing camera on here, so this works fine enough for stuff like FaceTime, video calls, Zoom calls, and stuff like that. I wouldn't bet my butt on streaming on this or taking crazy photos or anything like that, because the quality is a little bit grainy, as you can tell. I'm in pretty decent lighting, as you can see, so I do have a ring light right over here as well as a ring light right up there. But tell me what you guys think about this. I know the M2 Air upgraded the webcam slightly, but is this something that is still passable by today's standards? Let me know. I think it's kind of nice to see that the M1 Air is still selling on the official Apple website. I really don't think you're going to be missing out much on something compared like the M2 Air or the M2 Pro, unless you're going to be getting into intense programs. But here's my experience. Sure, I noticed it'll be better and brighter screen and notches there and a faster M2 chip, just to name a few, but I've really grown to like the portability and just like the wedge shape design of the M1 Air. It's a little less expensive and you can save yourself a lot of money here. And I think it's going to continue selling well for quite some time, unless Apple rolls out some type of update that slows down the M1 Air, which is not good, or they release like the M3, which totally blows the M1 out of the water and puts this to shame. But complete speculations aside, tell me what you think. Do you have the M1 Air? Are you looking at getting it? For people that weren't MacBook users before, would you try to get this and save a couple bucks? Personally, I would. It's still a really great machine. I love using it till this day. So yeah, just tell me down in the comments below what's going on, and I make sure to read each and every one of that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until the next video, guys, I will see you then.